Hey everyone, Crisis here. As someone who gained a fondness for the franchise in the years prior to its acquisition by Disney, I'd be lying if I said I don't miss many of the characters or storylines born from Star Wars Legends or the original expanded universe of games, novels, and comics. One such story that's managed to remain favored within the hearts and minds of fans is Starkillers from the Force Unleashed series of games. This got me thinking, in the same way the Inquisitors, Thrawn, elements of KOTOR, and Jacen and Jaina Solo have all been adapted into the current canon to various degrees, what would it look like if we were to take the core events of The Force Unleashed 1 and adapt it to suit the current Disney Star Wars timeline? What if The Force Unleashed was canon? Our story would begin 18 years before the Battle of Yavin, with one of Lord Vader's first tasks in the Empire being given directly by order of Palpatine, assessing if the negotiations on Mon Cala are being backed by a Jedi advisor. The Water Planet's leaders, especially one Prince Lee Char, have grown dissatisfied with the terms of their Imperial allegiance. Arriving on the world, Vader and his team of Inquisitors would almost instantly be met with hostile force. While they begin their defense, a Jedi senses the former hero once known as the Chosen One. A full-on attack erupts, TIE fighters clashing with the Mon Cala craft, with Vader and the 6th brother, 9th sister, and 10th brother all nonchalantly searching for the Jedi among the Mon Cala's ranks. Under counsel from said Jedi, the Mon Calamari leader has multiple whale-sized creatures flood the area, forcing Vader underwater. Using the Force to shield himself from the undersea pressure, as well as fighting off a titanic squid creature, the Dark Lord would rise to the surface once more. With Vader boarding the craft alongside his Inquisitors, the Mon Cala attack redoubles its efforts, just as Star Destroyers enter the atmosphere. The Jedi ally to the Mon Cala is revealed, a survivor named Farron Barr, having assembled a collection of fellow enemies of the Empire, families of Jedi slain in Order 66. While on the hunt, Vader receives a personal request to instead capture or kill the King of the Water World, the Sith agreeing, tasking his Inquisitors with killing the Jedi and his students. Farron, however, is cunning, using his mind powers to turn the clone squad against Vader's understudies, allowing him to evade his would-be killers with one Force-sensitive woman and a single small child. Vader, meanwhile, manages to fight off the King's defenses, capturing him and forcing him to watch as his cities are orbitally bombarded by Star Destroyers. Just then, as the Empire's victory seems all but assured, Jedi Barr ignites his saber. Their weapons clash, however, Vader senses something off about this engagement, estimating that Farron may not be the prime Jedi advisor on this planet. He senses a stronger force nearby. Just as the Sith Lord readies the killing blow, his saber is snatched from his hands. Both Farron as well as the Mon Cala King are struck in awe. They look on as the same small boy from before instinctually wields Vader's lightsaber. Fear surges up from within the Jedi Master, urging the young would-be Jedi to run. Vader silently disconnects his link to Imperial channels and slaughters both Farron and the Mon Cala Monarch. Separated from his forces, Vader would take the child, pilot his own craft, and escape in secrecy. Time would pass. The Sith would excuse his at-the-time disappearance as a test for the Inquisitors, a trial designed to amplify distrust among their allies, stating that one truly powerful in the dark side should be capable of reaching their goal without aid. This explanation would seemingly go untested, both to his quasi-apprentices as well as the seemingly proud Sidious. Seeing Lee Char's death as unfortunate, yet easily spun into a means of inspiring fear within any potential dissonance. The Sith Lord would go to great lengths to hide the child, rarely ever meeting him in person, stowing him away on cruisers or in satellite bases, finding any way to keep him unseen by the Emperor or his agents. Eventually, Vader would request from his master a proper base of operations, a world, with the ancient Sith Lord Momin building him a dark side channeling castle on the fiery shores of Mustafar. Vader would request of the macabre architect that secret rooms and channels be built alongside the various ley lines of the dark side. On such a planet already seeped in pain, housing the Dark Lord's own massive aura, in conjunction with the very nexus of his castle, Vader figures that it would allow him to spar with the boy, considering that even with Sidious's mastery in the ways of all things evil, he still wouldn't be able to sense the boy among the whirlpool of churning fear and rage. In the boy, Vader would have sensed great potential, feeling his power. The Sith Lord would plan to use his secret apprentice to build his strength, both through one-on-one training as well as sending the boy to high-level targets of the Empire. Through the years, hushed whispers were told of a powerful and mysterious assassin, with politicians, rebels, even tales of Jedi falling to his powers. The underworld of the galaxy would dub this phenomenon the Starkiller. The boy would grow considerably powerful, even somewhat shocking Vader with his strength. The Dark Lord would, however, remain selective as to the task he'd give to his secret apprentice, instead personally undertaking certain assignments as to not reveal Starkiller prematurely. This would go on until 3 years before the Battle of Yavin, Starkiller, now a 15-year-old Force adept, far beyond the likes of even the most deadly of the Inquisitors, with Vader revealing to him the secrets of the Sith to a much greater extent compared to even the likes of the Grand Inquisitor. Word of a proper rebel alliance would reach Vader, spearheaded by the Ghost Crew, among them being Jedi Padawan Kanan Jarrus, his pupil Ezra Bridger, both with aid from Ahsoka Tano. Vader, having earlier sensed his thought to be dead apprentice, he would see this as the ultimate test for his new acolyte. If Starkiller could defeat the pupil of Anakin Skywalker, known to the rebels as Fulcrum, then the two would be ready to face Sidious and rule the galaxy as master and apprentice. The rebel heroes would make their way to Malachor, an ancient battlefield where Jedi and Sith of old waged war. Kanan believes the world may hold the key to defeating the Empire. Making their way, the Jedi encounter Inquisitors clashing with the Darksiders. Separated from his companions during the battle, Ezra would meet a seemingly weak old man who turns out to in fact be the powerful one-time Sith, now going by only Maul. While Kanan and Ahsoka clash with the Eighth Brother, Ezra and Maul use the Force to acquire a Sith holocron from the depths of the Sith Temple, just as more Inquisitors arrive to back up their brother. Ezra and Maul arrive to offer aid. Lady Tano recognizes the former Sith from their prior battles during the very twilight of the Clone War. With their enemies now either having fled or been destroyed, the heroes sense an almost otherworldly presence, followed by the near-silent hum of an idle TIE fighter, as the Dark Warrior descends upon them. Starkiller, clad in obsidian black armor. Leaping forth without a word, the assassin ignites 2 red sabers held in reverse grip and strikes at Ezra. His blades are blocked by Ahsoka, barely managing to react in time. Strain across her face in contrast to the deadly stillness of her opponent. Kanan pushes his Padawan away, telling him to run with the holocron. Maul, assuming the assailant to be unto an Inquisitor, as well ignites his blades. Starkiller readies himself as his ultimate trial thus far begins. Saber strikes, parries, and force attacks are all executed masterfully as the apprentice holds his own against the 3 fighters. Kanan, however, is the first to fall, force pushed aside with a little effort. Maul's mechanical legs then fall victim to Starkiller's force lightning, launching the former Sith off of the temple's heights. Now, only the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker stands against the acolyte of Darth Vader. Tano reaches deep into the Force, mustering all she can as the two seem evenly matched. However, Starkiller's wrath seemingly knows no bounds. Repulses, lightning blasts, and extremely strong Force attacks put Ahsoka on the back foot. Yet, at the same time, Tano begins to notice that within the subtleties of her enemy's fighting style, she sees herself. She sees the hands of her former master. She reaches out with her feelings, using her empathy to catch the young man off guard, connecting with him in a way like he'd never felt under Vader's tutelage. Despite his confusion, he soldiers on, slashing almost wildly at his exhausted foe. Clutching her eyes, scorched by lightning, Ahsoka falls to one knee, raising a single saber in defense. Starkiller, one blue eye exposed during the bout, holds his saber overhead, conflicted. She tells him, "You can go beyond what he made you." Just then, inexplicably, a hand pulls the Sith assassin backwards, giving Ahsoka enough time to get clear of the temple's explosion. Galen, rattled from the experience, tosses his helmet to the side, exposing his true face, that of a boy not much older than Ezra himself, with a slightly older version of the Jedi standing over him. Starkiller is in the World Between Worlds, an ethereal dimension where one can peer into almost all of time. Ezra, being from the future, chose to save Galen, knowing the good he would go on to do for the galaxy. Unconvinced yet still conflicted from his duel with Tano, Starkiller peers into windows of events yet to come. As if through warped glass, he sees Vader coaxing a different young man, requesting he instead rule the galaxy as father and son. The older Ezra would further explain Galen's importance to the rebellion, the hero he'd become, while seemingly holding back a deeper sadness. Before he could begin to settle the inner turmoil within, the visage of Emperor Palpatine emerges, seeking to harness the power of the World Between Worlds. Sensing well enough to trust Ezra, Galen aids the young Jedi in defending against Palpatine's assault. Leaping back into their own times while also cutting off Sidious's access to the dimension, Galen would then rest atop the ruins of Malachor. For as long as he could remember, all the young Galen Merrick dreamed of, had envisioned for himself, was to stand at Vader's side. Now, however, after everything he'd just seen, his faith was shaken. Leaving his armor buried among the rubble, even leaving his sabers behind, he'd embark on a quest to reunite with Ahsoka, to learn what she meant by her words, and where his true destiny might lie. Hoping that Vader would assume his apprentice perished in this battle, Galen would eventually take the months to track Ahsoka down, using the hunting skills imparted to him by his old master. On the planet of Ossus, one steeped in Jedi history and tradition, the two unaligned former pupils would speak on calmer terms. Now blind in the wake of her battle with Starkiller, Ahsoka would learn why he sought her out specifically. Despite her important role in shaping the galaxy's past, he didn't see her taking place in its future. She was in no vision in the World Between Worlds. To him, his fate had been predetermined since he was taken in by the Sith. In her, he saw someone set aside from destiny. If anyone could teach him to be more than what he'd been designed to do, to change his fate, it was her. Hearing his story, Tano would train him in the ways of the Force as she believed in it. Not necessarily of the Jedi, but surely steeped in the light. A year would pass, with Ahsoka then feeling as if she had no more to teach him. Clearly, the Force had chosen a path for Galen, but if his tale of her absence from the World Between Worlds was true, then her story did not lie with the man once known as Anakin. Galen must take up her fight against the Empire, against Vader, if he so chose. Accepting this, Merrick would use Tano's connections to join up with the Ghost Crew, Starkiller no longer, but Fulcrum, assuming the mantle as many had prior throughout the galaxy. Our heroes immediately put a plan into action, use all of what Galen knows about Vader to lure him into a trap and rid the galaxy of him once and for all. Present for Mon Mothma's declaration, Merrick would see the rebels finally and properly unite. Galen would use the military assets offered to him, informing them of Vader's weak spots, the nature of his armor, and weapons best suited against Force users. Using an encrypted channel only known to the both of them, Galen would simply ping his master, leading Vader to the barren world of Vrogus Voss. Landing his TIE fighter among the wasteland, Galen would stand ready. Reunited with his apprentice, face to face, Vader would request a status report. Just then, Galen would ignite two white saber blades, with dozens and dozens of troop carriers and X-Wings exiting out of hyperspace in the sky above them. Vader just stands there, still, breathing. The noise made manifest in Merrick's nightmares, now once again before him. From all sides, troops gather with blasters ready. Canon and Ezra as well ignite their sabers, the latter having become more attuned to the Force since Malachor. "Stand down, Master. These men know how you fight, as do I. Spare any bloodshed and surrender." A pause. Just then, numerous Star Destroyers appear, TIE fighters flooding out from their docking ports. Vader ignites his saber.
"The only bloodshed will be from you and the men you've assembled to die."
Fear floods Ezra's senses, still carrying the Sith holocron in his person, addicted to the power it offers him. If Vader were to acquire it? A fierce fight rages, ground troops, aircraft, and at the center of it all, Starkiller and Darth Vader. Their clash is great, two masters at work, and just when fate seems to be erring on Galen's side, The truth is revealed. The Dark Lord seemingly shrugged off any apparent fatigue garnered thus far, in contrast to the worn-out Galen.
Your faith in me. Did you ever think I'd teach you everything? That I'd show you my true measure?
Starkiller screams with just fury, a lifetime of torture and manipulation boiling forth. Shockwaves rock the arena as saber meets saber. Force push meets repulse. Kanan and Ezra take to clashing with Purge troopers. Knocked aside, the Sith holocron flies out from Ezra's possession. The Empire cannot be allowed to find the secrets within. Galen, battered and bruised, sits on one knee, just as when he was knighted as a proper apprentice. You never trusted me.
Trust should only be used as a dagger in an enemy's back,
Vader utters through a slashed mask.
I sensed your weakness when I found you. Now you will watch as the strength of this petty rebellion is crushed. You will fall in line with the will of the Empire until the need for you comes to an end.
He turns to see the holocron within Kanan's grip.
A holocron. Even defiant, you've managed to serve me well. The Emperor will be pleased.
As Vader pulls the tome of Sith knowledge, Galen musters all he can, rises up, and channels the bulk of his rage into a torrent of Force lightning. His master blocks it with a saber, arcs violently crackling past the blade. Kanan pulls the holocron back, launching it as well as Ezra into the bowels of the Ghost. He hails for Chopper to escape, take the ship into hyperspace, and to not look back. Master and apprentice are at an impasse. Vader, having erected a Force shield, begins to strain, funneling Galen's lightning back to its source. They each scream before the battlefield becomes awash in an explosion. Looking back, with eyes clear as day, Kanan is consumed by the blast. Fighters from both sides are blasted out from the skies. Backup troops from the Star Destroyers survey the area. A lowly stormtrooper digs through the debris, finding Vader unmasked, beaten badly. Lord Vader, you're alive! Vader snaps his neck, finds his helmet, and rises. With a limp and labored breathing, he reveals the body of Galen Merrick, dead. Raised as a tool to the dark side, he ultimately died a hero, a beacon of the light, with his final act freeing him from his life of torment, granting time for Ezra and the even greater spark of hope still present within the galaxy to be inspired and fight on. Vader would heal, with Sidious revealing to him that he was always aware of Galen's existence. The nature of that day on Mon Cala screamed of subterfuge. All the same, the Sith was proud of the cunning and cold-heartedness in his apprentice. Ezra would survive, shaken by the loss of his mentor, as well as holding Galen in his memories as a great hero of the burgeoning rebellion. So, there we have it. Vader's secret apprentice woven into the events of the Darth Vader 2017 comic, Star Wars Rebels, and Vader Down, with a little of Rise of Skywalker in there as well. Let me know what you think, and if you'd want a part 2 in the comments. I think the canon galaxy is big enough for a Starkiller clone, after all. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.